All right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 4. Bryan Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan on a beautiful Friday afternoon. How we feeling?
Did you fog test today, or?
I was out there checking things out. It was a beautiful day. Like, this was it. This was the end, right? This is what all Canadians do. This is the end.
Because I always look at the little app, and it's like 20-something today, and then it's 7, 3. It's game over after this.
Yeah. I saw a video. It was, I think, a TikTok video or something on Instagram about an American woman who has moved up here, and she's lived in Canada for a couple of years. And she was like, the icebreaker for Canadians is talking about the weather. She's like, I've learned it through 2 years. It's like all they talk about is the weather. And here we are as a perfect example of it. Like, oh, last day, beautiful, sunny. It's 20. It's going to be 6 tomorrow. You see it snowing in Calgary?
Maybe we do that.
It's too much.
We do that.
I think it's too much. As Canadians, we need to just live in the moment, right?
Now that I think about it, every time I call my mom, it's probably the secondary topic of how's it going, how are you doing? And it's like, it's terrible up here. Well, it goes to weather, man.
But maybe you guys live an hour away from each other? Like, how far do your
Jamie
live away?
I live right in front of Lake Ontario. The difference between that and Alliston, where my mom lives, can be night and day sometimes. You can drive from Alliston, Collingwood. There's 4 feet of snow. I get down to downtown Toronto, and my grass is green. It's completely different. Completely different. I got to cut my grass in Toronto. Hayes.
Listen, I'll grant you, it's a difference of a few degrees of Celsius. Man.
I am telling you the truth. I've left my place in Collingwood with 4 feet of snow and cut my grass in Toronto.
No, you have not.
Somebody else verify this.
You've never done that, dude.
You've
living
never
in a
cut your grass,
world.
first and foremost. There's the other thing.
Guys,
and you didn't
sometimes snow starts.
You didn't shovel.
Sometimes snow starts in Collingwood at the end of October, and it doesn't even get close to Toronto until January.
You're right.
Send in tweets, please, to confirm this guy.
Yes.
Why would I? Like, I used to play in the NHL. Do you think I would make up a story about green grass and snow?
What does that have to do?
I would have no need to pump up a fake story about this garbage to enhance my whole thing.
I'm smart and I want respect.
You're Fredo. You're Fredo when it comes to the weather, too. It's ridiculous.
That's the question. Why would I make up a story like that? It's not something you make up.
I'll grant you there's a different weather pattern. What do they call it? The golden horseshoe or whatever. But not so extreme. Like, Noodle's mom lives in Edmonton.
Yes.
That's a weather conversation.
It's snowing there. Like, it snowed there the other day.
Yes.
Like, that's the weather pattern. It's, a 4-hour flight away.
Right.
Like, it's
45-minute drive. Away. This guy's like, I'm in shorts and a T-shirt, and your mom's in a parka in Alliston. I mean, it's not possible. It's not possible to be that extreme.
Doogie, get the text open for OverDrive and send in tweets at Hayes TSN, at OverDrive, and explain to this bozo that the separation can be that great.
All right.
I left here, 4 feet of snow. I got to TO and cut my grass.
Okay. All right, man.
No.
All right.
I'm smart and I want respect.
Cut my grass.
Oh, man. No, all right. Fine.
It's not happening. Like I say, I call home to Edmonton. It's snowing there. Like, that's the difference, because northern Alberta, it gets snowy immediately.
It was snowy there last night.
Man,
boy.
they're miserable out there in Alberta. They are.
Yes, they are.
They are miserable in so many different pockets of this country right now.
Dude, we got to do the happy meter.
We're
sorry.
going to.
It seems early, but we got to do it again.
Yeah, because it's completely flipped in some cases. Like, the two happiest coaches a week and a half ago are now at the bottom of the list or real close to it. I think it's the Kumite with Jay Woodcroft in Edmonton, right? Like, that is Chong Lee, Kumite. Someone's got to play Frank Dukes. It's probably Calgary, but it might be Ottawa with all the injuries they've had. They lost again last night. The Shane Pinto story. Like, when it rains, it pours in Ottawa.
Oh, man.
And, then on the flip side of it, you got the Leafs, right? You got Joseph Woll, who's a stud. Man, he looked good last night. He looked good last night.
I got a phone call this afternoon saying, do you think he's going to be a Vezina finalist? Can you guess who I got the call from?
I have an idea.
Joe from
who
the
it was.
Bridge.
I have an
Joe
idea.
from the Bridge or a producer at TSN.
Well, it's, a very respected guy at TSN.
I know. You don't even have to say it.
Quizmaster.
Yes, it was
Had
the
to be.
Quizmaster.
Quizmaster.
No, it just, I just was like, okay, everyone, listen, he's a very good goaltender in the making. Let's just breathe. Let him be a good young goaltender.
Yeah.
He played
I
well
will
again
say,
last night.
Noodles,
He played
I
great.
totally agree with you, Noodles. I totally agree. He's a young guy, and you got to let him grow and do his thing. But I'll tell you what, nothing, and I mean nothing, horns me up. Like it was Matthews and Marner. It's like, okay, super. But you show me solid goaltending, I get excited about that. Because I think you get a chance to win every night.
Yeah.
And if he could do that, like he made a couple saves last night. If he's garbage last night, that could have been 4-1. Like there could have been an Edmonton vibe around that game. But he made some saves, and that's what it's all about.
Well, we mentioned Frank Dukes. He had the Van Dam save where he went post to post. Was that, I think, on Robertson?
On Robertson on the
He
back
was
door.
between the two trucks.
Yes, he was.
He was between the trucks.
He was Van Dam between the trucks in Dallas.
Joe from the
last night.
Bridge, get the Van Dam gift between the trucks.
There's going to be a meme
of
of Joseph Woll's face on
Yes.
Van Dam between the trucks.
Yeah.
You know it. You know
Joseph Van Dam. That's
Okay.
who was in action last night.
it. Okay, what is the pronounce? Is it Wall?
It's
Wool?
Woll.
What am I
It's
doing
Woll.
with
It's
that?
Woll. But it doesn't matter. It's got to be
no.
Woll. It's got to be Woll while you continue to play this well, right? If you're going to continue to
Okay.
put up statistics like he is. Now, I got to be honest, I wasn't bracing to jump over the Calder right to the Vesna conversation.
Oh, no, it's the Vesna.
I
You got to
wasn't
rat out the guy
bracing
who
for
asked
that.
you. You got to rat him. Who
No,
was it?
I'm not ratting the person out because I like the person and I think he was just very excited. And,
Oh, I
and-
know who it was. ML. Are those his initials?
No, it wasn't.
It
It
wasn't.
wasn't in senior management.
Oh, is that
thing
right?
Here's the thing. It was just a phone call asking, like, am I getting crazy here thinking that they've got themselves a goalie? I said,
Look at there. There's my guy.
That was Joseph Van Dam in Dallas last night.
Yes. Yes.
I love it.
He was
I
great.
love it.
And here's where I kind of take issue with the idea that you guys are suggesting the whole world needs to relax when we have no bearing on how he's going to play, right? Pumping his tires is not going to have any effect on his career one way or the other. He's a composed player. He's playing well. All of these opinions are subject to change. I'm not putting money down on him winning a Vezina, being nominated for a Vezina. The Calder could be a little bit different in terms of chasing it because, again, these awards are largely driven by narrative. If he gets 45 starts on a really good team, Stuart Skinner was up for the Vezina, or the Calder last year. Basically the same thing. Came out of nowhere, put up good stats, started a bunch of games on a really good team. You get a nomination. Like, that seems to be reasonable. That could be a part of his future. I
That's not
absolutely could
crazy.
see that. That's not crazy
talking.
at all.
No.
And if
That's
his stats
not
are
crazy.
That's not. And if his stats are like really good, then he could win it. 100% he could win it. But right now, this guy is supplying a really positive storyline for a team that's 5-2, that has a recent history of having horrible Octobers where people are doing the Alberta dance, but they're doing it in Southern Ontario. And I think a big part of it is because he's played so well.
That's a great way to look at it, Hazy B. And I think the reason why people are excited watching it, and you can't control that excitement, is because the Leaf goaltender list is like the Cleveland Brown meme where the quarterback, like the Cleveland Browns jersey with the 17 quarterbacks on it? The last 10 years of the goaltenders, it seems like it's been a revolving door, and they tried to bring a guy that was glued together, and it's been a mess for a long time. So when you draft a guy and he plays in the minors, and it's kind of like a prototypical draft and develop, and he's your own, and you've cultivated this nugget, it's exciting.
I know.
You know what you just did? Find the Tommy boy with the little dinner roll.
It's like,
You're the
I
dinner
pet
roll.
it.
Yeah, he's like, I love it. It's precious. You cultivate it. And
Yes.
then you just
And then you squeeze it, and I love it, and it blows
Yeah.
apart. Here's where I'll give some context, okay? 1 week ago on this show, he hadn't played in the three games.
Right.
So we were talking
It's
about
early.
Samsonov. Like,
It's early.
let's just breathe here
I
again.
understand
Let the
that.
kid. Like, it's literally 1 week ago on this show, we were like, guys, just Woll going to get some starts. He's coming off the Chicago loss. You're like, okay. But he had a great week, so he deserves his flowers. But, like, again, let's not do the Tommy boy.
But what do you think Samsonov's thinking right now? You're a goalie, Noodles. You've been in that spot.
Yep.
This was his net. It's a big year. It's a contract year. What do you think is running through his mind?
He's in a fight, and it's the right fight because the net is open. And, coming into the season, I think everyone, including myself, thought, okay, Samsonov's going to play 50, maybe just over 50 games, 55. He's not a 60-game starter. So, I think that was kind of established coming in. They're a tandem situation. So, okay, so right now, Woll, is Woll going to be a 65-game starter this year?
He's not starting
right now.
No.
Not right now. But can he be a guy that develops into a one? I think that's where people are excited about. This might be a starting goaltender in the making here. And that's what should be excited about it's early on, but he's got the makings. There's something there.
Yes.
Does
that's
his
where
frame and his
that's where you
style
guys
of
are
play remind you of anything, Noodles? And I know you're not gonna say Carey Price, but you're a goaltending guru. Does he remind you of any goaltender, kind of mediocre, good, or better than average?
You know what? I should do some comparisons, but you're right. Like, Max Domi, when we break it down and we had tongue-in-cheek, all he said was the demeanor. He didn't say Carey Price's feet. He didn't say Carey Price's glove hand or puck handling. Look, but he does have size like Price. He does have a demeanor like that. But let's see. I said this today to somebody else. I might have said it to you. Oh, there it is.
There's and Joseph Woll. You got to watch this on TSN. Is doing a breakdown of him and Joseph Woll. Post to post. Tommy boy to Tommy boy. I love that video.
Yeah.
All right.
But you know what?
Continue,
He's got some really good skill. And that's what I think when you look at mechanics of a goaltender, like I said this to my buddy, Carter Hart has really good mechanics. Carter Hart, was in an organization in a rebuild. It was taking some time. I still think he's going to be a goalie, but it takes time to build through it. The luxury that Joseph Woll, I'm going to say, even though it's Woll, but Woll has, is that he's playing behind a very good team. And, like Stuart Skinner, like other young goaltenders that have played in top tier teams, you are going to have some nights where, hey, if I just play average, I'm still getting a win because the team can score, the power play can do it. Like, that's the beauty of it. I went through it in 1999 when I played on a President's Trophy winning team. If you look at the numbers, myself and Roman Turek, we had Chris Pronger, we had Al McInnes in front of us, we had Pavel Dimitra, had all this team. We gave up 2 goals a night, and we won 4-2 every night, it seems. So there's some runway for this kid, and it's a good week for him. But all I'm saying is breathe a little bit because Samsonov's going tomorrow night.
Yes,
and he's got to fight for that net.
As he should. It's a tandem. I think that's probably the biggest difference.
Agreed.
Is 2 weeks ago it was Samsonov's net. Woll is the backup. I mean, we were having conversations about Martin Jones and his role in all of this. Although I think we all anticipated Woll would be the guy that would be the number 2, and that's exactly how it played out. But at a minimum, I think we've reached a point where you can say it's tandem. Like now you've got a tandem, and that is also possibly subject to some fluctuation. Samsonov stands on his head and goes on a run. Joseph Woll at some point this year is going to slip. He's going to have 2 or 3 starts in a row that don't go well. That's being a pro. It happens with every single goaltender. That will be the next kind of litmus test for him. Like, how do you come out of it? What happens when you have a down night, when you get pulled, when you give up 3 goals on 4 shots? Because that's coming. He's an NHL goalie.
I think what
it's
we've
coming.
established here, guys, you said the tandem, but if it was going to be L.A. must win, Anaheim must win 2 days later, and then kind of the throwaway end of a road trip, San Jose, it would be Woll, Samsonov.
Right now,
and that's just for right now. It's just
for
like
now,
any other player that's dominating at a particular time. And when you have a tandem, Noodles, you know better than anyone, it kind of the roles can flip-flop just by judging whoever's playing better. And it's the cliche of the coach. I said it last night in the panel. We're going to put in the best guy, the guy that gives us the best chance to win. It's
Yes.
very simple. And I would bet you if you asked Sheldon Keefe right now, who do you think has the best chance to win in net? Who do you think who you put in?
Yeah, it's Joseph Woll.
It's Joseph
It has
Woll.
to be
So
right
let's
now.
just
But he proved
let
it.
the kid play, enjoy it, and kind of give him some runway here. As simple as that.
And give him his feathers. Like, give him the Tommy boy.
Yes.
Just don't do the Tommy boy at the end. You squeeze him so much that he falls apart. Like, that's the part that gets lost in this.
I don't think
the
it
bun is
needed to be
destroyed.
the Tommy boy. That video.
That's you and Joseph Woll, your boy.
At the starting, where you just hold the bun up. That's what you were doing with Joseph Woll. You were holding
I
the bun up.
wasn't.
Cultivating.
I was talking about good stuff like cultivating.
You said cultivating.
yeah.
and petting. I think you said petting.
No, I
You
didn't.
did. There was.
And you poked. There was a poke.
Yeah.
No, you're right. We're joking around. You're absolutely
awesome.
right. That is what makes this a cool story. Is the Matthews, Marner, Nylander arrival? That was 8 years ago. Since then, you've had Sandin, you've had Liljegren, Nyes. This market, I think every market in pro sports, you're always waiting for the next guy to show up where you can say, I've heard about him. We know what they've done with him. Let's see it finally flourish. And it happened last night. And Wall played really well. And, the talent showed up again. I thought Riley was phenomenal. We had that conversation about Morgan Riley a week ago, but him chasing the playoff mode as much as he can. That was playoff mode Morgan Riley last night. And it had to happen because McCabe left early in the game. They played a ton of minutes. They were down to a 5-man defense. I thought Riley was really good. I thought Willie was good. Tavares sneaks in an empty netter late, so he's got points in 7 straight. Like, it's just good mojo around the Leafs right now.
Yeah.
It is. It's a good mojo.
That empty netter was. Do you see? He tried
loved
to
it.
smile, but he didn't want to smile. Everyone else was laughing. He was like, "I'm not going to smile. I'm going to bury this in the middle of the net from inside my own zone."
Yes.
Which is fine.
Take
do
it.
If
It
it's
all
there,
counts
do
in
it.
the end.
But
It
he
all
he
counts.
refused to smile, but he knew there's a cookie for me right there, and I'm going to
Absolutely.
take it. Good for him.
A lot of people writing in confirming O-Dog's testament that O was absolutely right about snow in Collingwood, green grass in Toronto.
Thank you,
Like
guys.
a lot of people supporting that idea. A lot.
Collingwood is in the mountains. You're talking. I'm saying
The
Alliston.
mountains, it's an anthill as far as ski hills go.
Yeah.
It's just an hour and 40 minutes north. But with the water right here, snow happens.
Not so much here. Not so much here. Dude, just go put a clip on, tie on, and let's just finish this thing for the rest of the day. Please do us a favor.
It's a snow belt. That's
Yes.
all I'm trying to say.
It's a snow belt. You're right. The Golden Horseshoe, the green belt, the snow belts. There's a lot of different belts, and it's all working out to be different weather patterns. So anyway, the Leafs are back in action tomorrow night. Raptors in Chicago tonight. See, the Bulls had a players-only meeting after their first game. Like, I've never heard of anything more ludicrous than that in my life.
That's when training camp was terrible and guys were miserable, and it's just you have this dream that everyone's going to snap out of it come game one, and nobody does. So I've seen a closed door coaches meeting with Peter Laviolette after one exhibition game.
Ooh. That's
when I said I'm out.
It
That's
just
when
reeks. That Bulls situation reeks of something else going on behind the scenes. Like,
that's not good, man. That's bad news.
That's wild stuff. You're right, Noodles. Like, someone doesn't like someone, you
Right.
know,
Like,
and
there's-
someone saw something they really didn't like.
Yeah, like there's something going on there. We always say we're privy to 10% of the information, from behind the curtain type
Yeah.
of thing. That's like, think about what came down yesterday with the Pinto stuff and that. Like that, that's been a couple weeks in the making, to my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Like that type of stuff. Like there's so much that goes on behind the curtain that and we're not privy to. All of a sudden it comes. So a closed door meeting after one game, that smells of something
Poisonous.
more.
Yeah, it's not good. So we're going to update our happy rankings based on, the emojis that we were using for the 7 Canadian coaches. We'll do that at 5 o'clock. Lead that into Mike Johnson. Johnny can give his view on the Leafs last night. What's up with Ottawa? What's up with Edmonton? What's up with Calgary? Like, Alberta is the place to be right now when you're talking about hammering a panic button and people freaking out. So we will get into all of that. The World Series beginning tonight. Are the Jays looking at this through the lens of Marino, Gurriel Jr., That storyline will not die. And again, the Raptors in action tonight, and then Nick Nurse making his return to Scotiabank Arena tomorrow night. So we'll start looking ahead to the game tonight, and Nick Nurse and the Sixers in town tomorrow. Thursday nighter went down. Luke Willson will join us. You guys can gloat about a backdoor cover that was disgusting
Any truth
last night.
to the rumors? You teaming up with Doogie?
We'll address that in a few moments. All right? We will address it. Doogie is a man of integrity, and I appreciate that. And he's a smart guy, too. Doogie knows how to pick winners. He's a winner in life, Doogie. He really is. That's what people say. So Luke Willson coming up on what went right for the Bills last night, what went wrong for the Bucs. We'll have our picks for the rest of the weekend. World Series tonight, Raptors in action tonight, Lease Bag in action tomorrow. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, OverDrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Luke Willson will join us. One half of Team Owen Wilson got themselves a win last night, backdoor cover, gutless.
Greasy.
Oh,
I'll tell you what, it's such a savvy pick. Like, you got to give the guy credit.
Yeah.
I mean, us.
you guys credit. Yes, it was a backdoor cover. I mean,
Yeah. A lot of people, they just look at that and say, Bills at home, they're just going to crush Tampa. But that guy, he's got eyes on the prize.
yeah, he does. And the Bills, self-inflicted wounds, they don't care about the spread. Clearly, they won the game. They're happy. But really goofy prevent defense, the face mask call, which was 100% a face mask, was insane. It was 4th and 10. Baker was taking a knee, was dropping, and the defensive player face masked him twice just to keep the drive alive and the backdoor cover alive. It was scary how stupid that was. But it's all good. We move on, and Luke will join us here in a few moments.
You have to admit, if you have a garbage weekend, you are in...
It's trouble. I'm in big trouble. I mean, you guys have bullied Doogie into posting it +7 now, so there's no records anymore. It's very confusing. But
Yes. No, it's not. That's very simple, dude.
Well, it is kind of
We
confusing.
are up 7.
it changes, right? Noodles, you weren't here yesterday, so they changed the whole calculation of how things operate.
How
around here.
hard could it be when someone is +7? If you're having a golf match with someone, if you're -7 or +7, you're either really good or really bad. There's not 2 records. It's all in one stat. You're plus or minus.
All right.
I'd prefer to see both records just to see who's choosing.
No, you
and
don't.
who,
You're right,
No,
Noodles.
you're buying into this guy's garbage.
You
These
guys have
guys
to
are-
understand. I'm on the group chat. I just don't respond. I see you guys arguing and calling each other idiots and yelling at each other and emojis and Doogie's in there defending himself and then you're calling him gutless and some I'm on this group chat. I just laugh. I
You're
think it's
in stealth
hilarious.
mode. You're a stealth viewer of the dumbest group chat on earth. There's no way there's
No, I don't think
dumber
so.
group chat than ours.
No.
There's no way. And these guys, they're trying to lean into Doogie.
Yeah,
which
they're bullying him.
I take offense to, right? I'm here to protect Doogie. Doogie's my guy. And,
you could give a you-know-what about Doogie. That's a fact.
No, I love Doogie. Doogie's a good man, and he's been doing a great job. And he had to slap back at these clowns. You were on it, Noodles.
Yeah.
Luke and this other guy, Tommy Boy, they're like, it's +8, +8, +8. And Doogie's like, I've done the math. It's +7. I know it's +7.
If
He
that's
stood
the
up.
case, Doogie, that's why you're Doogie Howser. I'm sorry. And so is Luke. I'll let Luke apologize when we
Okay.
get him on.
All right, we'll get Luke on here in just a moment. I want to play this clip, and why don't we play it, and then you can get Luke on the line, and Luke can respond to this. So we talk all the time about modern athletes having podcasts. Draymond Green's probably got the most, well, he used to have the most famous one. Now the Kelsey brothers blow everyone else out of the water, right? The Kelsey brothers, because they got the Swift angle, and then Swifties pushing them over the top, their downloads and their streams and all that are going through the roof. But Draymond's still playing. Travis Kelsey's still playing. Kevin Durant, I think, had one at one point, if he doesn't still. And Micah Parsons has got one, who's, one of the 2 or 3 best defensive players in the NFL. Great player. I would argue the face of the Cowboys, even more so than Dak and more so than Mike McCarthy, more so maybe than Jerry Jones. That might be a stretch. Jones is probably a little bit different.
This
but
guy's,
he's a
before you
beast.
even get to it, this guy is outspoken. He calls people out, and he's not afraid of controversy. So
No.
I can only imagine what comes out of this.
Well, I'm curious how the two of you included, and we'll include Luke in this, professional athletes. You can salute each other if you'd like. How you would respond if you were on his team. Because Micah Parsons, who controls his own podcast, right? He creates the content. He goes where he wants to go in terms of the commentary, the questions, and the opinions. He decided to come up with the question, who is the best team, I believe he said, in the NFL, possibly in the NFC? He plays for the Cowboys in the NFC East. Here's how he answered that question.
Number one will have to be the Philadelphia Eagles. No one has stopped the tush push yet. Javonte Smith could be A.J. Brown's number one receiver. Jason Kelce, Hall of Famer. Lane Johnson will be a Hall of Famer. They're very special. Their DB core, Darius Slay, crazy talent. James Bradbury, and I know you saw the trade. He just got Kevin Byard. Very special to see. Obviously, I know I was high on Jalen Carter before he even got the Philly. I don't know how he fell to them. Without a doubt, very special group. It's very special to see what they've done. And they still have Reddick. They still have Sweat. I don't believe they have any weaknesses on their team.
What the hell is this guy doing? I would be like, what are you, some kind of super fan?
I know.
That's one of our rivals, dude.
Like, I was trying to think of it from my perspective as a fan. I'm like, if the best player on my favorite team was pumping the tires of our biggest rival, I'd be flabbergasted by that. Now, I can't argue with this stance.
Dude, I get it, but that's what some fanboy in their parents' basement does. Do you understand that? Like, you don't do that. And if anybody on the Cowboys had any stones, it would be a players' meeting whenever they get together next and say, what are we going to do about this? Because this is nonsense. Luke would know more about the football environment, so bring him in and let's hear what he has to say.
Here's our TSN NFL analyst, one half of Timo and Wilson, and a bully towards Doogie, and I don't like it.
Bully.
Here's Luke Willson.
Are you hearing this garbage?
Leave Doogie alone. I want that stated.
It's garbage.
All right, answer that for us, though, Luke. Like, if you're a Cowboy and you hear Micah Parsons go on his podcast and he's trying to generate attention and clicks and follows and downloads, and he's done it, and he literally breaks down layer for layer why the Eagles are the best team in the NFL, how would you respond to that?
Not well, and I can kind of wrap my head around the idea of being like, I think, right, you're saying something like, right now I think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC, like they're the team to beat until somebody, from the NFC knocks them down, then they hold the title. But to get into that, like, aggressive breakdown that he does, again, like, I think of myself when I'm playing, and, I played when the Niners were pretty bad. My first few years, my first two, especially the first one, they were elite. And we ended up getting the better of them that year. But in those middle years, those are kind of like the Tom Sula years and the Chip Kelly years for the Niners I'm talking about. They weren't very good. But then on the flip side of that, like when Robert Saleh was their D coordinator, and all of a sudden it was like us and them in the division, there was no chance I was ever going on any sort of podcast interview being like, the Niners are the best team. Let me tell you why they're so great. I mean, deep down, and I still have it, you just have like an absolute loathing feeling for these guys. Like,
yeah.
To talk about somebody in the division like that is a bit absurd to me.
Yeah, like I guess it's very, cutting edge modern athlete. I don't argue with anything he said. That's what.
Agreed.
It's not like he's saying the Giants are the best or something.
Nothing was wrong with it. It was correct information, but that's what you talk to your buddies at the bar about that after lunch or dinner. Mm-hmm. You don't go on a podcast. That's insane.
Yeah, it's almost like, I don't want to dig too deep into this. It's like his priority is the podcast more so than the locker room, right? Like his because he is generating a ton of feedback off that comment, because every Cowboy fan's like, what did he say? Like Micah Parsons was saying that about the Eagles and glorifying how great they are?
Unless, Hayes, he's 2 steps ahead of the game and he's trying to piss his own teammates off and say, you know what, I'm going to fire them up. But I don't know if he's that kind of guy where he's 2 steps ahead like that.
Yeah, that seems pretty deep. If he is, that's wild.
I just think, again, like Micah Parsons, best player in their defense, and I think of my experience here, and they're not the same, but you would have never heard Richard Sherman say anything about the Niners. I mean, we all know his infamous interview after we beat the Niners in the NFC Championship game. Like, you can't find an interview with Cam Chancellor or Earl Thomas being like, yo, Colin Kaepernick is an elite quarterback. They've got Crabtree. They've got this guy, that guy. Frank Gore is going to be tough to bring down. Like, the mentality is like, we're going to come out here and smash this team. I don't care who they're rolling out there. So, again, like, it's just a gross – like, it makes me feel gross listening to it.
It is tough. It is tough. And it's the Cowboys. Like, he represents the biggest fan base in the world, and it's not going to stop. It's not like the Cowboys are terrible, too. Like, if they were 0-7 and terrible, and he was like, this place stinks, I want out of here, even then I might be surprised by it. But they are on their way to the playoffs. Like, they made the playoffs a year ago. They are supposed to be an elite team. Anyway, what about that Bills game last night?
What a pick, Parts.
Yeah, good pick. It was, a little bit of a greasy. The flag, face mask, that was a face mask, but they could have let that go. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The cover, you guys are +7. It's all good. But if you're the Bills, like, we spent a lot of time yesterday, and when you were in studio, we were talking about this. Like, that's a must win, and they got it. But I wouldn't say it was like an overly impressive win, but does that really matter? Because really the job was done. They got one in the win column, and that's why they went out to play the game last night.
So it was interesting to see how the whole game unfolded because, honestly, I thought on both sides of the ball they dominated. Like, I thought they beat the living hell out of Tampa Bay. But then there are just these moments that are almost always with them self-inflicted, where they let teams linger or they let teams back into the game, and you're just like, how is this happening? And I almost sent this text. I hate to admit this, but midway through the second quarter, I almost was like, Partsy, we're in for a long one. Like, I butchered this. Mm-hmm. But then all of a sudden, it's like,
no. We made the decision together, so it wouldn't have been on you.
Yes. But I worried because I'm like, man, this is bad. Like, Tampa Bay's getting dominated, and then all of a sudden the Bills start doing what the Bills do. They throw a pick on the 20, and now all of a sudden it's 10-10, and then they look electric, and they get to 17-10. And you go down there, and, I was laughing because I was thinking of you, O-Dog, when all of a sudden you've stopped this offense the whole game, and now you're playing off coverage, not prevent, they weren't, but it was so much more relaxed, and it's like, oh, Tampa's able to drive a little bit, and we did get very fortunate with the fourth down penalties and the face mask, which I thought were legit. I thought all the penalties were actually legit. But you sit there and you're like, man, how did this game, which should have been probably 34-7, end up being a Hail Mary that seemingly could have been caught away from them losing? And that is my gripe with the Bills. Is it's just like, I don't understand, and maybe there's a parallel in hockey, but in football, there'd be times where it's like, hey, we're in the fourth quarter, we're up 7 or we're up 10 points, we got Marshawn Lynch. You kind of look around the huddle, it's like, boys, we need a 6-minute drive here, put this bad boy to bed. We got to find a way to do it. Protect the ball, etc. Even if we don't score points, we're chewing up the clock and we're giving them 95 yards to drive the field. And the Bills seemingly can't ever do that. But on the flip side, I will say, I did think that was the best their offense looked since the Miami game. And not just because they were scoring points, but they started getting everybody involved. Gabe Davis played tremendous yesterday. Khalil Shakir had an incredible game. James Cook was very effective in the run game. And I scratched my head again because I'm like, where the hell has this been the last 3 weeks? The last 2 games, Gabe Davis, I believe, had 2 catches for 27 yards. The guy is a legit number 2 receiver in this league and a big body. How are you not utilizing like they did yesterday every single game? They did, show a lot of great things where they can be elite, but at the same time, I'm just like, 1, can they be consistent with it? And 2, I use the term bonehead, but they still have a lot of bonehead moments that let bad teams like the Bucs linger around and almost get back into this thing. And that's what's concerning.
Well, what was concerning for me this morning is hearing you two try to bully Doogie into giving you a +8
I
point.
witnessed it.
Yeah, you were there, Noodles. You were creeping in the background. No
Parts,
one really
was that
knew
just
you were
a
there.
miscalculation?
It was a miscalculation. I thought I got very confused by the. Well, I knew it was 6, but I figured, with the weird way we do this, I'm like, wait, it's a loss, so it's like a 2-point swing every game. But
Say sorry to Doogie on the air.
Yeah, you owe
please.
Doogie an apology because that was
Doogie,
uncalled for.
I apologized to him when he called me 11 minutes ago, but Doogie, I owe you an apology for the miscalculation. That being
Doogie.
said, I do believe there's some fraudulent activity with Doogie. I'm very suspect of what's going on.
I agree with you because the original, this is the inaugural Doogie jam job. Me getting Texans, Panthers is absolutely
Doogie, hang on a sec, Doogie. Get your mic
outrageous.
on. What do you have to say? What is it? Texas Panthers?
No, yes.
why
Houston
that one?
It's a great
versus
storyline.
Carolina. It's the first and second overall picks. But Doogie, it's terrible.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
think so.
All right.
Doogie, what's we're trying to
saw
bring
that.
excitement to this segment.
Yeah.
What is exciting about that matchup? Explain.
Well, it's 1 against 2. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. There's
Yes.
going to be a lot around this matchup, and it's proven for both of them.
Okay.
It's a big matchup.
Big
so
matchup.
It
All
might
right.
be hard to pick. But
Well,
there's good
You're
storylines.
overthinking it, Doogie.
I think it
on
is
that
going to be
one,
hard
pal.
to pick, Doogie, because like the Panthers are 0-6. They stink. The Texans have actually been surprisingly pretty good. I like D'Amico Ryans. I mean, he's done a pretty good job setting a standard down there pretty quickly. I don't know, Doogie. I really don't know. I guess I'm subjected to this game. No, I'm not going to punt it. That's a gutless move. That's something Timo and Wilson would do. I own every possible pick. Doogie, he tells us what we do, and this is what we do. I'm going to take the points, I guess. I'll take Carolina. I'm going to take Carolina at home. At some point, they're going to get a win. Houston's not a very good team. I mean, Houston was
They've
the
been
second.
posting.
They have been
some
hanging
wins.
around. They have. But it's kind of like an Arizona situation, in my opinion. They got a couple of flashy wins early in the year, made people think they were really different. I think they're probably better than Carolina, but I'm getting 3.5 at home. The Panthers at some point are going to do something. Even if they lose this game, they lose by a field goal. So, Doogie, put it down on the record. Team Hayes and Company on the Panthers plus 3.5. All right? Yes.
Wow.
There it is.
Wow.
All right. Go ahead.
This guy is in shambles, man. I
Dude,
can't
it's
even
a
fathom-
panic pick. A panic pick.
It is.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
a well-versed
You just
pick.
took an 0-6 team at
Yes.
3.5.
Yeah, at home. I'm getting points at home against a bad team. I mean, that's gambling 101. Doogie would
Dude,
know
what
that.
he just did in
Bad
our
team, they're 500.
Yes, Houston stinks. That division, outside of
Lukey.
Jacksonville, they suck.
What he just did in overdrive terms, he set a record for an underpant number. It's 70. Carry on with the next
Yes,
pick.
it is.
All right. Bengals, Niners. Now we're talking, Doogie. This is the kind of game we're looking for. Niners have lost 2 in a row. Bengals coming off a bye. This, to me, is a layup. Obviously, because I'm a past champion, I see it that way. You guys are not. You don't have championship pedigree, so you may not see it the same way. Niners laying 4.5 at home against the Bengals. Who do you like and why?
Okay, just so we can get rid of this layup nonsense, because I know who you would pick, and I got a feeling we're going on the opposite. Who would you pick, Hayes?
I'd take the
this has
Bengals.
Nothing to do with
I'd hammer the Bengals.
Yeah.
Hammer the Bengals.
I'm not. There's
Oh.
no way.
Okay.
We're going Niners all day.
I love it.
let me
Response, because it's
explain.
about a professional athlete. Response.
Bengals coming off a bye. Joe Burrow's 100% for the first time all season. Wait until you see him cook out there. Purdy's not going to play.
I mean, you're forgetting something. He's looked good the last few weeks because they've protected him. I'm telling you right now, Nick Bosa is going to be going wild in this game. Also,
Nuts.
Fred Warner. They
Nuts.
just lost a game that they should have won, by the way. The defense is going to make so many plays. I'm reading an article today. Kyle Shanahan calls Steve Wilkes out, the D coordinator, about the play at the end of the half running cover 0. You know Wilkes is now sitting there staying 2 hours late now being like, yo, the head coach has pretty much pinned this one on me. Can't happen again. And on top of that, everyone's like, oh, Sam Darnold's playing. What is going to be the major difference between Sam Darnold and Brock Purdy?
He's
Don't get me wrong,
better.
Brock Purdy's
No,
better,
he's not.
but-
He's not better.
A little nugget
Sam
from
Darnold
ESPN.
more
Dan
talented.
Orlovsky said Sam Darnold, he's going to flourish. He might be better.
He'll be seeing ghosts.
Agreed.
He'll be seeing ghosts. That's what he'll be
Oh,
seeing.
there's no way.
Yes.
This is sucker line, O-Dog. You nailed it. These
Thank you,
guys like
Partsy.
Hayes and Co. would take the Bengals when, just like O-Dog said about the Eagles and the Dolphins, we as pro athletes know that it comes to physicality in this league.
Yes. Put it in my
The San
veins.
Francisco 49ers might win by 14
No.
because Joe Burrow is going to be peppered all night.
No chance.
Did you hear
Paranormal
that?
activity.
Physicality, intensity in my veins.
Paranormal activity. Paranormal activity. That's Sam Darnold. That's what he's going to be seeing. The Bengals, you don't think they've been cooking for 2 weeks coming off a bye? And Shanahan, of course, it's his fault. It's the defensive coordinator's fault. Purdy threw 2 of the worst picks I've seen all season. That offense wasn't exactly cooking the other night either, but Shanahan won't take any blame. Not leadership. Not the type of leadership that is successful in games like this. All right, Sunday night are Bears-Chargers. This game is can we get this flexed? Like, please? I'm not even talking about the spread. I don't want to see the Chargers in primetime again. And who wants to see the Bears ever? Ever.
Dude, punt it and take a different
I
4
can't.
o'clock
It's
game.
the Sunday nighter. You can't. We got to play that. We got to play the Thursday, the Sunday night, and the Monday night. You got to play them.
That game sucks.
It's an
man.
awful game. It's a truly awful
You can
game.
have it. I don't even care if we lose it. It's just garbage. And we got a comfortable lead.
The thing is, you could really spin this either way. I'm going to take the points. I don't like either team. I'll take the Bears. I'm not sure who's starting at quarterback. I should probably know that. Is Fields playing?
Man, you're taking the Bears?
It is? Oh,
Lock it in.
beautiful.
Lock
Yes.
it in.
Fields is out. I love it. I love the kid coming in. I love it. I'm on the Bears. I think you're talking a Joseph Woll resurgence type situation with a backup quarterback that comes out of nowhere. Listen, I'm not trusting the Chargers to get the job done.
Dude,
8.5 points. Do you know how stupid that team is? Do you know how often they shoot themselves in the foot?
Dude, I'll
It's
bet
just
you
like
a
the- it's
side.
just like
I'll
the
bet
Bills
you a
last
side
night.
$5,000 the Chargers demolish them.
Now, this is Bills Bucks all over again. This is
No
backdoor
way,
cover,
dude.
Bears taking care of business.
No way.
Yep,
Partsy,
Bears.
tell him.
Give me the points. Bears.
Like, Hayes, man, you got to understand that at some point, it's good for us, as a whole in the show, for you to be at least close. And with these picks, like, you're going to go over 2.
No.
We're most likely going to be 2-0 going into Monday night.
No.
And you won't be able to catch us.
No.
Can I explain something to you? You look at the Chargers defense, which has been trash.
Awful.
Where have they really been trash? Against quarterbacks that are passing. You think that Tyler Badgett, I'm not even sure if I'm saying that correctly.
Doesn't matter. He's a
Everyone
legend.
thinks had a great game last week. He threw for 162 yards.
Protect the
You know
ball.
what the Chargers are going to do? Load up the box, be like, stop the run game, and make Badgett throw for 3 bills. You know what Badgett can't do? Throw for 3 bills. On the flip side, Herbert, this is a perfect game for them to get back on track. Let's go beat up on the lowly Bears, who, I don't care what anyone says, stink. Okay? They might win this by 100. This game might be 100-3.
Yeah, the Bears stink.
Ridiculous.
The Bears stink, but they've got good mojo. They got good
How
mojo.
do you go?
They got
80
good
on the
mojo.
underpants.
And the
Your
Chargers
underpants are at 80.
You guys know the Chargers are the biggest frauds in the NFL. They can win the game.
No,
but they'll
you know
find a
why?
way
They're not frauds against a garbage team. That's when they flex. That's when they say, watch this.
That can be relevant in some capacity, but listen, I don't like where the Chargers at. I don't like Staley as a coach. Their defense, they got the most expensive defense in football, and it never produces. So I'll take the points. You give me teams I don't like, I'll take the points. I ride the dogs. You guys ride the favorites. Fine.
I just want to point something out. Your 2 picks this week are the Carolina Panthers
Yep,
and the Chicago Bears.
that's right. The
Like,
NFL.
you couldn't have gone 1-1 with that. Like, hey, I've got a good feeling this will be an upset. No, we're going to
Process.
take 2 of the worst teams in the league.
I have a process. And my process, the numbers, the calculations, it leads to those picks. So there it is. We're in. I'm on the Panthers. You guys are on the Niners. And I'm on the Bears. I love it. Doogie, write that down. Post that out. Although if it goes south for me, no more updates. Thank you. All right, Luke. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday.
Cheers, guys.
Luke Willson, our TSN NFL analyst, one half of Team Owen Wilson. Mike Johnson in about 15 minutes. Our happy meter for the 7 Canadian coaches coming up, too. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, Mike Johnson coming up. We'll get into the World Series starting tonight. Got Raptors in Chicago and then Raptors at home against Philly tomorrow. Nick Nurse making his return. We'll get into that as well into the next hour. And the happy meter is going to return. The happy ranking. 7 Canadian coaches. It's going to change quick. It has changed quickly. Obviously, we'll talk about the Leaf win last night. What's going on out in Alberta? The Oilers, the Flames, both getting booed off the ice.
Nick Nurse, big reception on return Saturday?
Yeah, I want to get into that. I think it will be massive. It should be massive. I think it should. We'll discuss whether it should be bigger than Kawhi's return. All right? We'll get into that into the next hour compared to the Kyle Lowry return. There's a lot of different things we can touch on, and we will do that into the next hour. Hour 2 coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.